All right, we're back. Part 2 of our discussion. So the thought pops into your head about these sort of feelings. You interpret it, the thought interprets it with a suggestion of any kind. It grabs onto it and says something, and you kind of buy into it. Well, how could you think that a thought that is a production of an apparatus that is owned by you could actually know more than you know about you? Thought comes from the brain, a part of it, that kind of thought that you're not responsible for. It's an independent system. And that brain as a whole is an apparatus, is part of you. It's not you, it's part of you, like your eyes, like your hearing. Yeah? It's part of you, like your hands. It's part of you. It's not you. So thinking that a thought, which is part of an apparatus, a feature of yours that you own, would happen to know more about you, the persona, the who you are, how you've been put together, than you yourself, is ludicrous. Logically look at it. A thought wasn't even there when you were being put together. Thought came after you were born. So how could thought that wasn't even there when you were being carved in stone in your mother's womb could ever know anything about you more than you always knew or know about you? So the suggestion that thoughts makes is based on just making thoughts. You're not supposed to believe it and allow it to become fact. Because on what basis? On what knowledge? What knowledge and how that knowledge extends? From where? You're the one who knows more about you. You're the one who witnessed how you lived, how you grew up, what you were interested in. Suddenly thought comes along and you suddenly jump at it. What is it? A belief? How could you actually... It's just like anything else you believe in, but you have no evidence to it. There are things in life that we believe in. You know, like in the old times, they would believe that a statue is a god. They would go into the basement and make a statue and then they pray to it because they somehow believed illusory that this thing has powers that I don't. And it can give me the powers that I need. Health, harvest, this and that. They believed and allowed that thinking without any evidence to be accepted as fact. And then they based their life on that. And of course, all of them were destined to find that it was all a hoax at the end. We all know what happened to all those people who were worshiping stones and statues of different kind in the Pharaoh's time and all that. All bullshit. But their brain is set in such a way when it believes in something, it doesn't need evidence anymore. It just says, it is. And this is what's happening with you guys. Suddenly a suggestion happens and you've somehow been bamboozled, but the information out there or propaganda or misinformation, or somehow you fall into the fact that you believe a certain suggestion. But where's the logic of it? Would you believe if somebody would walk in the street and call you what thought pops in your head, the same as what thought pops in your head, and somebody out there calls you that? Like, you know, you're heterosexual and somebody says you're homosexual. Would you believe that? You wouldn't. Why? Because you clearly see it came from out there. You say it's illogical. It doesn't suit me. I'm not. I know I'm not. I've never been. I lived in a different way. I know who I am. So it's very easy for you to reject that. But you think because it popped in your head, then it has a credibility. It doesn't, because what pops in your head is also like no different than somebody else from out there has uttered something, some suggestion. Just because it happens in the screen of your head, the image or a thought, that doesn't mean that it has any credibility of any sort. It is also a random uttering of some outside entity, outside of you, separate from you. Thought is separate from you. It's not the same, even though you have access to the screen that it appears on. That what appears on the screen that belongs to you is not you, or it's not your idea. It's like a movie theater that puts any kind of films, movies that have been produced on it and lets people watch it. But that doesn't mean the movie theater actually created that movie. It was created somewhere else, brought in and put on the screen. This is a screen. And what the thought shows up, it doesn't mean it's you. It's a thought manufactured by part of the brain that it gets its information from what's floating out there, and it's got nothing to do with you. It's irrelevant to you. You're not responsible for it. It doesn't represent you. You have to understand that. It's a screen. Anything can show up on it. Any image. But that doesn't mean it has anything to do with you, or it's your doing, or your interest, your inclination of any kind. It's a suggestion. It's an idea. And ideas are floating out there, dime a dozen, a million of them. And that's what brain does. It's a thought manufacturing plant. It makes thoughts and it puts it on the screen there. But that is not supposed to mean that's you. Because thought can never know anything more about you than you know. It's like saying a university, a department of business was created before the university was created. Well, no, it's part of the university. University was created first, and its mandate and all that, and then departments are part of its facilities. You can't say that the Department of Business knows about the whole entirety of the university and its curriculums and its policies and its mandates and its regulatory bodies and everything else that makes it function more than the university itself. University owns the department. But the department doesn't know about the university and where it comes from and its history and how it started, that it began, more than the university itself. Same thing. Thinking the thought that is part of a faculty of the brain, that brain happens to be part of you, then suddenly it knows more about you than you know, which you were there before the brain was even put together, or thought, possibility and ability of thinking was given to you, which was after birth. So you cannot really think what comes to your head has any credibility of that sort. Now, I want you to give me time to have another sip of my tea, and I want to give you the punchline for this discussion. Part 3 coming up. Don't miss it.